Welcome to the Best Life Ever Life Group Series, the Cause Community Church. I'm Pastor Bob Reeve. So glad you're joining us here. This is our series on the 10 Commandments. We believe that God's ways are always better and that His commandments are given to help our life thrive and grow and be fruitful in every way. So now we've already looked at the first 4 commandments. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall have no carved or graven image. You shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God in vain, and you shall remember the Sabbath day and to keep it holy. So now we're on the 5th commandment, and there's a shift here as we head into the 5th commandment that has to do not so much about our relationship with God, but almost exclusively about our relationship with one another. And the 5th commandment starts here right in verse 12, Exodus 20, verse 12, says this way, honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long upon the land which the Lord your God is giving you. God's ways are always better, and if we're going to do things God's ways, it starts with our family unit, the family that we live in. As I said to the church a few weeks ago when we were teaching on this one, I said that I like this commandment. I think I want to call it live long and prosper. Come on, those of you that are Trekkies might recognize that familiar symbol from the Vulcan Mr. Spock. Live long and prosper. This is the only command that is given with a specific promise that if we will honor our mother and our father, that we will live long, we will be long in the land which God gives us. I think it's not only an individual promise, but I think it's really a community promise that where there is honor towards our parents, towards authority figures, it helps the community to function better as well too. So I want to talk to with you about that for a few moments before you head into your groups and discuss this more in depth and make some application to it. When we talk about this commandment, honor your father and your mother, there's really at least 3 different types of people that are hearing it. There's those of us that had good parents, and it's relatively easy to think about honoring them. We may or may not be good at that, but it's easy to think about it because they deserve honor. And then there are those people that have bad parents. And when you think about this command, your first response is, man, there's not a chance that I can pull that one off. These were not good parents. And so it's difficult for you to think about that. And we're going to talk to you about that here in a minute as well too. And then the third type of people that tend to hear this command and have a reaction are those people that kind of have no parents or completely absent parents. In other words, they have no frame of reference with which to put this command is how do I honor people that really weren't a part of my life? So hopefully we can address this and you can address it in your time together as well. Why is this commandment important to God? The truth of the matter is that for us to function at the best level in our lives, there is an authority and an accountability structure that we need to pay attention to. If there's no respect at home, the chances are there's going to be no respect at school, there's going to be no respect of law, and it's going to be difficult to respect those who are in authority over your life, such as bosses later on. Hey, men and women, the truth of the matter is most of us are going to work for somebody most of our life. And if we don't know how to function under authority, it can be very, very difficult. So authority is a critical part of us preparing ourselves for living our lives, and it starts in the home. Authority is and this honoring is not a suggestion, it is a command of the Lord. And then ultimately, as we learn to function under authority, then we learn how to operate in authority. That's an important distinction. It's not until you learn how to operate under authority that you can really function in authority. Matter of fact, it's just as important to learn fellowship before you learn leadership. Let me be real practical with you for a few moments, okay? For those of us that have good parents, how do we honor them? How do we celebrate them? Here's a couple suggestions. First of all, be appreciative of what they've done. Hey, sometimes we look back on our parents and we can think about some of the things they messed up on or some ways that they let us down. My conviction is, especially those of us that have basically good parents, is that people do the best they can at the time that they're experiencing any particular situation. And even though you might think about some things in your life that maybe your parents did not handle well, I'm pretty sure they probably did the best they could. If you're a parent or want to be a parent, you're going to find the same thing, is that you're going to actually learn as you go. There's no manual for parenting. So let's start with being appreciative, and be appreciative towards your parents while you still can. After all, they're a generation ahead of you, and they're not going to be here forever. So let's be as appreciative as we can while we can. Now let me visit with you briefly, those of you that really had parents that were not good parents, maybe they weren't even good people. Let me suggest this to you. First of all, try to at least find something good in them. Almost everybody has some good dimension of their life. Try to find something good and focus on that. Number two, if possible, work on forgiving them, even if it's just a choice to forgive it for the next moment, this next brief moment of time. Make some effort to try to forgive them, even if they were bad parents, even if they let you down, even if in some way that they were just not good people. The third thing I want to say to you is, when you think about your parents, if you're going to honor them, allow yourself to be appreciative of them as much as possible, and let God take care of those things that are just haven't been right in your past and in your family's history. He absolutely will. He's an honest God. He sees everything. Let him take care of that. Don't you carry it around like some weight that you have to take care of your whole life. God will take care of those things. Matter of fact, you can read Luke 17, the first few verses, about 1 through 4. Jesus talks about how precious children are to him. And for people that don't handle that correctly, God will deal with that in the appropriate way. For those of you that haven't had any parents, you don't have anybody in your life that you could say has really been a parent to you. Maybe you were abandoned, maybe you were raised in some sort of foster care system or some sort of orphanage, or maybe your parents were so disconnected for you that you feel like you raised yourself. At least honor the parents or honor the people in your life that made a difference. Work on honoring. Maybe it's a teacher, maybe it's a coach along the way, maybe it's a grandpa or grandma or an aunt or an uncle. At least honor the people that had a positive influence in your life. That will help you to be honoring towards your Heavenly Father. I know sometimes for those of you that don't have a good father or mother image in your life, it's hard to connect to God as a loving Father. But as you read the Word and as you share honor with authority figures in your life, you're going to start to get an increasingly healthy picture of who God is in your life. So let's be men and women that honor our parents. Let's live long and prosper. Honor your mother and your father. I pray that this particular session is going to be close to home for you, and it'll be something that will encourage you in your discussion together. Can't wait until see you at the next session 6, Your Best Life Ever.